What is your daily life like in the war? Do you keep studying and working?
I can't keep working, studying because I keep up with the news, always reading about what's happening at the war zone. And me and my brother, we volunteer a lot. So we help our army, we help people who are trying to find refuge at other countries. So we don't have any time to actually do some other kind of work. And actually every Ukrainian right now is united in thought that we have to help and we don't have any spare time to waste.
Are people getting enough food, water, and other supplies?
In the place where we are at, they do, but in places that are right now under attack, actually there have been messages that they don't get enough supplies and water and electricity has been cut. And that is something very disturbing to us.
What is your view on the war between Russia and Ukraine? What does Russia want and what's their ultimate goal?
As far as I'm concerned, the ultimate goal of Russia is, as they said, demilitarization, denazification of Ukraine, which means they basically want to overthrow our government, our current government, and just install some kind of puppet government that will be in line with the foreign policies of the Russia, and they will just be under their control all the time. So we really don't want that, and that's why we are fighting to not let that happen in reality.
Some people in America draw a comparison between Putin and Hitler. Does this comparison make sense for you? Do you differentiate Putin and his cohorts from the majority of Russian people?
Well, I would say that actually there have been a lot of recent news about how Putin and Hitler are similar in general, because they are so proud, Russian nation is so proud of winning the war against Nazi Germany in last century. And always they remind us that Hitler, he made his first attack cowardly in the morning at 4 a.m. But Putin, he did the same thing. He attacked us 5 a.m. Also in his addresses, we can draw a lot of lines that make his speeches and also actions very similar to what Hitler did. So a lot of Ukrainians right now, they are inclined to think that they have a lot of similarities and maybe, I don't know, somehow they are even connected in that way. But we are still differentiating Russians that support Ukraine and they go to protests and they actually try to do something, fight their government, even under the threat of going to jail. And we are very thankful to those Russians. But for those who still support Putin, we can't find any kind of excuses.
How do you think about your President Zelensky? Do you support him before? And is he a greater leader in the war?
Yes, a lot of people actually supported him before the war. He won the presidential election with very good ratio to his contester, but actually right now everyone is just very proud of him because he's staying in Kiev, he's defending our capital, he's not leaving despite some hoax and fake news from other countries that he might have left. He's still in Kiev and he's fighting, he's having he's delivering addresses to our nation, so we are very proud to have him as president. And yeah, we're just very happy that he is leading our nation in this fight.
Is the Ukrainian military well prepared for the war from regular training? Do you think that Ukraine will win the war, and how could Ukraine win it?
First of all, I do really think that we will win the war because we are defending our land and we actually have this goal and aim, and Russians, they just invade our country. They have no one to support them here, no one is welcoming them here, and every Ukrainian right now is united to combat them. We do a lot of volunteer initiatives. We, even if we can't fight, we still provide support to refugees, to army, to military, and that's why we are all united in fighting them. And I think that we can win, but our victory will be much faster with the support of European nations, of democratic countries, United States, actually any country in the world that is willing to help us. It will be very, very, very helpful, and we would appreciate it a lot.
Do you think peace could be reached through negotiations?
Personally, I think that it could be done, but it needs to have a lot of precautions because we already had a lot of negotiations with Russia and their government, and we have seen that they are not capable of keeping their promises. So this time we actually need some kind of very, very good guarantees that nothing else will happen in the future and they will not invade us in any other way, because we already had some agreements that were violated, and we don't want that to happen in the future again.
How about Crimea and Donbass? Do you think Ukraine should take them back as the condition for peace?
That is a very good question. I think even people in our government, they still didn't decide, but these are Ukrainian territories by law, and in fact they are, and we have been telling that to the world since 2014, since the annexation of Crimea, so they are still Ukrainian, but we really hope that they will go back to Ukraine peacefully as well, and this war shouldn't have happened in the first place. But if the result will be in Crimea and Donbass returning to Ukraine peacefully as part of negotiation process, we would be only happy and welcoming all the people from there and our rightfully territories. So,
how do you see the US and West reacts to the war, and how will you evaluate NATO's actions?
What I would say is that we actually really, really appreciate the diplomatic efforts and the economic measures that were taken by the West, because they really show the support. We appreciate the equipment sent, the military equipment, also the intelligence information, and we also encourage to send more that kind of information to help our refugees abroad, because a lot of countries, we have seen immense support from all of the European countries in locating, accommodating our refugees, and we are very grateful for that. We are also very grateful for all kinds of humanitarian aid being sent to Ukraine. So this is very helpful to our future victory, and we really appreciate the support.
How about the sanctions? Do they have enough teeth?
Sanctions are, I think, the first step, because not only Russian government, but also simple Russian people need to see that the war has the impact on them as well. And we believe that if people see that sanctions are happening, they will finally realize that the war is not about only Russia and Ukraine, it's about Russian people as well. So they will take action, they will go outside, protest, and maybe they will be also taking part in changing their country into more democratic and into the one that will not at least invade countries nearby.
Beijing rejected calling Moscow's move as an invasion and urged all sides to exercise restraints. The White House calls on China to condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine. How do you see the Chinese government's stance that seems to be a bit unclear?
Right now, Ukrainian government is also not very sure where China stands, and that is something we are very worried about, because China is a big country and it is a big economic partner of Russia and Ukraine. It's our biggest economic partner, and the fact they have no stance upsets us. So we would really want all of the countries of Asia and actually all of the regions to urge Russia to do the peaceful negotiations, to go back home, and that would be something that will be very helpful for us.
Some commentators think from how the West deal with this war, Taiwan's future could be foreseen. Do you buy that?
Right now, how West shows their response to Russia will show the rest of the world whether they can or cannot be aggressive towards other countries, whether they can or cannot invade other countries. And that is very important that the West right now shows the action to actually do something, to show that international law matters, to show that conventions matter, to show that war crimes will be seen and will be condemned. And that's why this case is very important for the entire community, not only for Ukraine and Russia.